Mouse P.I. for Hire is coming out soon. It's coming out tomorrow. I'm excited. Are you excited? I'm excited. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. But some people have already said that it's trash, or that it's not good, or that it's slightly above average, or even worse, above all of that. That apparently Concord is better. That apparently Dragon Age the Veilguard is better. That apparently all these other video games, like Avowed, is better. All these games are better than Mouse P.I. for Hire. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about IGN's Mouse P.I. for Hire review. We're going to go over IGN's Mouse P.I. for Hire review. But before we play the video, ladies and gentlemen, they decided to give Mouse P.I. for Hire a 6. They were like, yeah, it's just okay. Mouse P.I. for Hire is an amusing enough FPS if you just want to blast some cartoon mice and not think about it too hard. But its haphazard marriage of noir storytelling and boomer shooter action are at odds in uncomfortable ways that weaken both aspects. Now, obviously, I'm not surprised by this in the slightest. It's fucking IGN, boys. Let's not sit here and pretend to be surprised at their stupidity. But let's go over this and see what they have to say about the game. Here we go.
Story, neo-noir, classic pulp, you name it, I'm buying.
Okay.
So when Mouse P.I. for Hire sauntered onto my screen the way Ilsa walks into Rick's in Casablanca, I was pretty excited about it. But noir isn't just an aesthetic to be thrown on like an old coat as you're leaving your office at the behest of a leggy blonde. While Mouse P.I. for Hire clearly understands the style and tropes of classic noir films and novels as well as 1930s cartoons more broadly, it doesn't seem to get why those things are there or how they're used to tell compelling stories. By fusing a hard-boiled detective mystery with a fast, retro-styled FPS, developer Fumi Games has made a shooter that is thematically incoherent, with the apparent aspirations of its story contradicted at every point by the actual action. Of all the Steam libraries and all the PCs in all the world, Mouse P.I. for Hire walked into mine, and I wish I liked it more than I do.
It's over. You got nowhere left to run. I run toward the dream.
Why do I not believe him when he says I wish I liked it more than I did? Why do I not believe that? And it's so funny because I was looking at his review and he was complaining about, I don't know if he's going to say it in the video, but I'll tell you what I read in his review real quick. He was complaining about the fact that in a Mouse P.I. for Hire game, a literal game based on mice in a world where everybody's a mouse, he was complaining about there was too many cheese puns. I'm not kidding. He was complaining about the fact that a mouse video game was making too many cheese puns. Yeah, I don't know, bro. At this point, I don't know.
Ruled by big mice.
Mouse follows Jack Pepper, a private eye in a world where everyone is a mouse, after Wanda Fuller from the Mouseburg Herald sets him on the case of a missing magician.
I can give you more than a crumb, Jack. I can give you a magician.
As you'd expect, that spirals into a much bigger conspiracy that includes an attempt on a mayoral candidate's life and racially motivated mouse-on-mouse violence as bigger mice oppress the smaller shrews.
My buddy got nabbed for just being a shrew.
Same as it ever was, even in Mouseburg, and the requisite twists and turns you'd expect from any good detective story make this tale solid enough.
I was in too deep. Way deeper than I signed up for.
What bothers me, however, is how overly referential so much of it is. The world is full of mice, so everything is about cheese. Everything. A bad guy, he's a cheese-legger.
You see? Complaining about everything being about cheese, but you're in a world about mice. That's the joke. Jeez.
Cheese-leggers in on the shrew racket.
Run into a lady mouse with a sultry voice? It'll be described as
Gorgonzola picante slapped on a mozzarella platter.
someone need to assure you they're telling the truth.
Swear on my mama's cottage curds.
This is charming initially, then it never stops. Everything is a reference to the fact that everyone is a mouse and mice like cheese, and when it's not, instead it'll be a reference to an old cartoon, or the fact that this is a video game.
When you jump, just
Act like you didn't.
I should have probably guessed the former when one of the first things I saw was a steamboat named Willie, but at least that and the reference-heavy power-ups are cute. Constant callbacks to classic films or other video games? Not so much. And it doesn't end there. A boss fight in the sewers? It's a literal alligator because of course it is. If you're looking for the cheese-liking foreman, Jack will quip that he doesn't look like much of a boss.
More like a mini-boss.
And then laugh at his own joke. The voice actors...
So this game, yeah, I'm Brick too, right? As he's complaining about the game, I'm sitting here like, this is fucking awesome. So he's complaining about there being too many puns. He's complaining about this game that is trying to be a more lighthearted video game. It's just look at the style of the game. If you were expecting a super serious noir experience, you're not going to get it here. Just look at the fucking game. You know? But he's complaining about apparently there being too many mouse puns, cheese puns. Everything is centered about being a mouse or cheese or whatever. It's a fucking mouse game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't go into this not expecting that. Am I crazy? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm probably crazy, to be fair.
By Troy Baker do an admirable job with what they have, but nothing in Mouseburg is allowed to just be. It has to be a mouse reference or a literally cheesy one-liner.
Cheddar, what's wrong with Gouda?
No good if you broke, Jack.
Or a reference to something else.
Ticket seller, I'm going on a perilous journey, so I need your strongest tickets.
It's hard to care about anything in Mouse P.I. for Hire because it never stops making jokes about everything.
Here's Jacko.
It just
because that's the kind of fucking game. Oh my god. Oh my god. Am I honestly crazy for saying to myself, looking at this game, looking at the screenshots, looking at the gameplay, and saying to myself, yeah, I don't think this game is gonna have like a super serious tone to it. I don't think this game is gonna have like an ultra serious fucking tone to it. I'm not gonna look at this and expect like a super serious story. Like, bro, what? Brother, relax. It is a mouse video game. It's trying to bait you with the nostalgia of fucking Steamboat Willie and just mice in general. Like, what do we... I don't understand. I don't know.
Wants to remind you of other better things. Surely that's enough, right?
Time to find someone higher up and squeeze until they stop.
At least the shooting is better. This is the latest in a wave of boomer shooters inspired by old school FPSs like Doom or Quake, and it's a decent one at that. You start with a pistol in Jack's fists, but you'll soon acquire a shotgun, dynamite, a James gun, which is just a Tommy gun, and more unique stuff like the Devarnisher, which shoots what looks like Elmer's glue that melts the flesh from your enemy's bones, leaving only a skeleton. Throw in stuff like a double jump, dash, spinning tail for hovering, and a slide, and Jack's got some stylish moves when the bad guys show up. This ain't Quake, but it does feel good. It doesn't hurt that all of it, from reload animations to random conversations, is rendered in an absolutely gorgeous black and white mix of sprite work and 3D models. The world building may be thin, but Mouse P.I. for Hire is still dressed to the nines. Even here, though, I have issues. Weapons can feel weak, especially the shotgun. It's got the audio kick of a pop gun, and there's a strange disconnect to seeing something that sounds like a kid's toy blow off some poor mouse's head as you paint.
Well, because it's a cartoon. Like, it's meant to be like the old school cartoons. What do you think, the old school cartoons have fucking Counter-Strike sounds? Do you think they had the Half-Life fucking shotgun sound, brother? What do you think? You're going to hear fucking multi-kill?
Monster kill!
You're not going to hear any of that, bro. It's a cartoon shotgun. Even the Tommy gun sounds like little pellets. It's supposed to be like that. Brother, are you playing this game expecting, like, I don't know. I don't even know what you're expecting. What were you expecting when you played this game? I don't get it.
The white of the world with black ichor that spews from his neck.
That sounded great. What I literally just saw here, he blew off the mouse's head. That sounded great. That was a nice pop. Sounds better than I thought it was going to sound, to be honest with you. What's the problem?
Enemies mostly come out of doors marked with a skull that you can't enter, robbing these areas of anything remotely resembling a sense of place. Levels also really like to pull the "we're gonna lock you in a room and throw baddies at you until they're dead or you are" shtick a little too much for my taste. None of this is game-breaking. The combat is fundamentally good enough to carry you to the end of the roughly 12-hour campaign, but sometimes it feels like being at a show that's never quite bad enough to leave. And at least on the normal difficulty, health items are so generous there is rarely a challenge. Like any good boomer shooter, there are plenty of secrets to find. Newspapers, weapon up.
A journalist talking about rarely a challenge is actually kind of hilarious when you think about it. I just think there's like a level of irony there. Like, oh, I wasn't challenged. These are the same outlets that are demanding boss skip options and difficulty settings. But yeah, I just wasn't challenged. Okay, sure.
Grade schematics, baseball cards, and so on. Fragile walls to...
Is there difficulty options in this game? Does anybody know? I don't know if there is, but
blow up, and even lock safes to open with your tail, which pulls double duty as a lockpick. Some of these locks are on a time limit, or must be solved in a limited number of moves, and you only get one shot at the good stuff they hold. Others are so easy you could probably solve them by letting an actual mouse run across your keyboard. It's very jarring.
That looks cool.
Once you're done with the level, it's back to the hub, which
I kind of like the lockpicking, the way that looked. That's pretty creative, to be honest with you. I like that.
encompasses Jack's office, the local bar, store, weapon
Unironically, he's selling me on the game. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but unironically, he's actually selling me on it.
an upgrade shop, and so on. My favorite thing here is the baseball card minigame you can play at the bar. You'll switch between pitching and being at bat, and using the cards in your hand, players and abilities.
You'll switch from pitching to being at bat. Yeah, I'm sure they have a lot of experience with that. My little dad joke. You like that? You like that? All right.
Try to score as many runs as you can. It's fun. What I like less is the whole being a detective thing, mostly because I never actually got to do it. Any clues you find will be pinned to Jack's caseboard, and once you get them there, Jack will just intuit where to go. No work on your part required. What's the point of being a gumshoe if all the answers are handed right to me?
Better check it out.
Oh my god, a journalist complaining about the answers being handed to you. Holy shit, what world are we in, bro? What world are we in right now? Yes, I know, I see the cards. The cards.
The call. Routine. Familiar.
That brings me to one of my major problems with Mouse P.I. for hire. Look, I hate to be that guy who brings up ludonarrative dissonance in a video game review in the year of our Lord 2026. And if you're rolling your eyes right now, I can't blame you. But it's an actual issue here.
I'm rolling my fucking eyes right now, bro. I am rolling my fucking eyes. What are we about to have a conversation about right now? Oh no.
Jack Pepper is a PI who kills more people in a single mission than Philip Marlowe has in...
You know for a fact he loves being that guy. Anytime somebody says, I don't want to be that guy, they want to be that guy. They just don't want to get in trouble for being that guy. I just want to be very clear about that.
Every book Raymond Chandler ever wrote combined. I don't care how corrupt the cops are. A private detective can't break into a police station and slaughter them en masse and then go about his day.
Sure he can. Sure he can. It's a fucking cartoon. He absolutely can. He absolutely can. It's a cartoon. In cartoons, crazy shit happens. In cartoons, people die and come back all the time. He absolutely can do that.
In one particularly nonsensical scenario, Jack inadvertently burns down an opera house to save a guy running for mayor, and he ends up fighting an opera singer and shoots her. Is she dead? Did I just kill an actress for being angry I burned down her workplace? If I didn't, have I left her alive and unconscious inside a burning building?
You are thinking too much about this. It is a cartoon. Cartoons have shit that don't make sense all the time like this. If you watch literally any old school cartoon, you see this shit. Bro, Elmer Fudd shot so many people. You think he was just going on a murdering spree? Come on, man.
Well, Billy Stone did get blown to Kingdom Come.
Mouse P.I. for...
So you're going to question... Hold on, let me get this straight. You're going to question why you could go on a murdering spree as a mouse in a cartoon video game, but then you're going to give Grand Theft Auto, guaranteed when it comes out, a 10 out of 10 and never once mention the murder sprees that you can go on. You're never once going to mention the fucking violence that you have in that game. You're never once going to mention any of that, but apparently the dissonance is too much in a cartoon video game. It's too much for you to understand. You're just not going to get... Come on, bro. Come on. You guys know for a fact they're going to give GTA 6 a 10 out of 10 so that Rockstar can send all their journalists nice collector's editions so they can feel really good about themselves. They're going to give it a 10 out of 10 glowing review. You already know it's coming. And they're never once going to mention anything about violence.
Hire doesn't tell me, and it doesn't seem to care either way.
Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
None of this is to say that noir cannot or should not be violent, but the violence usually has a purpose. Much of Elliot Chase's seminal
Oh shit, it's lagging. That's the that's YouTube telling me enough of this
novel
shit.
Black Wings Has My Angel is about robbing an armored car, but the book builds to that. It's a big deal when it finally happens, and the characters have to reckon with the fallout once it does. Jack Pepper, on the other hand, is a walking catastrophe, and nobody in Mouseburg seems to care.
Yo, they got
He
Kane in the
largely
game.
gets to go about his business and is portrayed as a down-on-his-luck everyman PI, like the characters who inspired him, when he is, at best, a mass murderer.
You implying something, Mr. Pepper?
Me? Imply? Never. I just connect the dots.
Does that make for a more fun video game? Maybe. But it's bad noir and a worse detective tale.
All right, I think this guy was expecting LA noir, but with mice. I think that's what he was expecting. I think he was expecting something that was going to be super fucking serious, ultra serious mode. It's like, okay, bro, can we relax? Like, do you even know what you're really playing right now? I feel like they just threw this game onto this guy. Like, hey man, nobody wants to review this game, so you go review it. Bro, what are you even talking about? I don't get it.
In the story as Mouse P.I. for Hire references, violence is an unfortunate but unavoidable part of the human experience that shatters the people it touches. Here, it's just entertainment, and that weakens the whole concept. But Will, you might say, this is a goofy Looney Tunes FPS. Why should I care about any of that? And the answer is because Mouse wants you to. It wants you to believe this is important. You spend a lot of time talking about these characters, about putting together the clues you need to get to the bottom of what's going on, about Jack's motivation for doing the work. He allegedly needs the money, which both leads him to taking...
Okay, so because the game has a narrative that it's trying to portray in a proper way, that's like a murder mystery or whatever the case may be, like the fact that it has a narrative, that means it can't be silly? That means it can't have a silly gameplay loop to take you through the narrative that you're actually going to enjoy learning about? Brother, you sound young. Maybe you are young. You clearly never watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You never watched that movie. Because if you watched that movie, you would not be complaining about this shit. Who Framed Roger Rabbit actually tried to tell you a fairly serious story, but it did it in the most silly fucking way imaginable. Literally the silly way imaginable. To the point where there were people that were dying in that movie, or seemingly dying. Realistically, they probably got knocked out. There were cartoons that could die, right? With the green liquid. The cartoons they discovered that they can actually die. That was the only way that they could die. But at the end of the day, like it was done in a silly way, but it was still telling a serious detective story. You were trying to figure out who's the one who actually murdered Acme. That's who you're trying to figure out. Right? Which the whole thing comes from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You know? The dip. Yeah, exactly. The dip. So this whole thing about, oh, you can't have a silly gameplay loop, but then try to tell a serious story. Brother, they've done this before. Literally, they've done this so many times. How are you gonna sit here and pretend like this is anything different? This is literally Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the video game, just without color. That's it.
Cases and doesn't track when I'm super rich from all the killing.
Nonsense. You're drowning in debt, picking up small fries and petty cases.
All of that makes a lot less sense after you've gone to Tinsel Bros Studios and single-handedly eradicated the mob hanging out there, all while doing a bunch of Tomb Raider / Indiana Jones / Conan the Barbarian impressions, as everyone says you should be an actor.
So tell us, hero, what is best in life?
To grace some parm. Watch
That looks
the
so cool.
cheese melt and hear the joyful squeaks of my dinner guests.
Yes.
Give this guy a week on the job as chief of police,
The
and
Conan
Mouseburg would be the
reference.
safest city in the world because nobody would be left alive to commit crimes in the first
The handgun is fucking hilarious, bro. The handgun is hilarious with the 2 fingers and shit. It's so funny.
place. It's hard to buy into Jack as the regular guy who needs to gather evidence I'm told he is when he just wiped out the local police department, you know?
The police barcade. We're showing big on this one.
Mouse P.I.
I can't
for
wait to
Hire
play this.
nails the aesthetics of both the 1930s cartoons and the detective stories that inspired it. And it's also an amusing boomer shooter that largely feels good as you're playing it. But its haphazard marriage of noir storytelling tropes and shooter gameplay are often at odds with each other in uncomfortable ways that weaken both aspects. And the writing is so busy making references to other things that it's actually painful to sit through at times. This FPS is solid enough if you just want to blast some cartoon mice and not think about it too hard, but once you do, all you'll see are the scenes where disparate ideas have been fused together. and no trench coat can hide the stink of that moldy cheese. For more, check out our reviews of Pragmata.
So you complain about cheese puns in the video game nonstop. You complain about how everything has to be about cheese and mice, but then you literally end your review with a cheese pun? Bro, with all due respect, you sold me on the game. You sold me on the game. Not that I needed selling. Not that I needed selling. I didn't need selling, but you definitely sold it. You sold it for me. It is all good. You took this shit way too serious. This video game is meant to tell its story in a silly way. We've seen examples like this before in many different cartoon iterations. I don't understand what world you live in where this is seemingly anything different than what we've seen before. I don't know. I think he was expecting LA Noire, and he got something that was a lot more lighthearted, and for some reason that upsets him. But anyway, I'm going to link the video if you guys want to check it out yourselves in the comments of this video when I clip it, and also in the chat right now so that he can get his credit. But yeah, I gotta say I highly fucking disagree. Highly disagree.